Buckingham Palace has kept a dignified silence today, saying nothing about the onslaught of accusations from Prince Harry.
But for the royal family, actions usually speak louder than words. So could Meghan and Harry actually be banned from King Charles's coronation? Well, here to discuss this with us tonight is TalkTV contributor Paula Rowan-Adrienne, broadcaster and former MEP Alex Phillips, and Katie is still with us. Paula, to you first.
Good evening.
Good evening. So what do? Do they never complain, never explain, or will they have to say recollections may vary?
Well, there's two things here. They do say, they definitely do explain, and they definitely do complain. What they don't do is attribute it specifically to them. It will be a royal source or a source close to the family or a source close to X, Y or Z. Yes. And we know that that happens and we will see that onslaught, that tsunami of them not explaining, but actually really they are, over the next couple of weeks.
I mean, isn't that exactly what Harry has been complaining about? He alleges that this is what they made a habit of, yes. that they repeatedly briefed against him and his wife. Personally, I find that quite hard to believe, particularly in the case of William. I'd really like to hear what Katie thinks about that, because I just don't really see with William what he had to gain from doing that. Katie,
no, well, there wasn't anything to gain, and as far as I was concerned, I never had a courtier briefing against the couple.
Right.
Yeah, of course they brief. That's their job. They're a communications team,
not against
each
other.
It was a deal between them. I mean, so Alex, how do they respond? Do they respond, or do they maintain the moral high ground?
I don't think... I mean, he's just blown himself up, hasn't he? What is there to say? If they were going to say anything at all, and I don't think they should probably say, are you OK? Yeah. You know, do you need help? Because what he has done is very destructive to them, but it strikes me, it's incredibly self-destructive. Yeah. And I wonder where his support network is.
Oh,
you know,
I don't really want to hear about his support network. I think he's had too much of a support network. There's all this psycho babble that's got him into the mess in the first place. Katie,
it seems to me they're exploiting a very troubled man.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
There is that. Katie, how do you think Prince William personally responds to this? He is so dignified. You know, this is a guy who's never put a foot wrong. He is his face is poker face all the time, isn't it?
I mean, it is. You're right, it is. But I've seen a trend for William, I think, to start speaking out a bit more. So he addressed those racism allegations. I mean, he was doorstepped.
It was one sentence, wasn't it?
But it was a really important sentence. He was clearly so angry that he felt the need to respond. Yeah. On the back of that quite tricky tour to the Caribbean, where they came in for a lot of flack, he and Kate, he wanted to address that. He wanted to discuss it head on.
Do you think, or did he just
No, it wasn't planned. It wasn't signed off by Charles or anyone else. It was something he wanted to do. Yeah. So I think while there is still a generation at the palace that believe the never complain, never explain mantra is the best, I think the Prince of Wales is actually perhaps more inclined to answer back, and I wonder if he might. I think if we're going to get a comment at all, I think it's likely to...
Do you agree with Paula there'll be lots of behind-the-scenes briefings from
I can tell you,
team?
we've not had briefings today. There has been a no comment. They are not going... They know that if there are briefings, that they will only fuel this narrative.
But where does this stop? I mean, we raised the question of could they be banned from the coronation?
I don't think they'll be. I don't think. It was interesting to hear Sally predict that they won't be there, but I don't think they'll be banned.
Sally's strong view was that they won't turn up. Certainly, I'm sure they'd rather be seen to take the initiative here rather than be, you know, the humiliation of...
Well, it might well be that that's the case, but I don't believe that they would be banned. I spoke to a source, you know, close to Charles, who says he wants to extend this olive branch. He wants a relationship with his son, so he's not going to ban
Alex,
from the
if they are invited, should they attend?
Well, all of this is more publicity for them, which is what they want. But the problem is their publicity takes away the publicity for the royal family. It damages the royal brand. And this isn't about the Kardashians. This isn't a reality TV show. This is a constitutional monarchy. This is how our country works and is governed. And so I think the royal family have no choice but to extend an invitation. But, you know, be it at their own peril, because it will be all about those two.
Yeah, and it may be that the sort of mutual understanding is that whilst the invitation is extended, it's a formality and it will be declined.
You might have a different view on that, Paul.
Absolutely not. They need to be there. They should be there.
Really?
If they are not invited, let's think about this.
You're such a
if
softie,
if they're not
Paula,
invited,
really?
no, I'm not a softie. I'm a realist, and actually, I'm dealing with the hard decisions that people have to take. If they don't turn up, what are we saying? What is this family saying?
But that's a different point, isn't it? If they're invited, and let's assume they're invited, should they attend?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And will they?
Will they? That's another matter. Should they attend? Absolutely. Why? Because Harry says, I want my family back. Well, then let's start getting this family back together.
Doesn't that just ruin the day for everybody else, frankly?
This isn't about everybody else, though, is it?
But what about Camilla, the evil stepmother? I mean, really? How's she going to feel?
But who's surprised at that depiction? Who
No,
honestly is surprised at that
I
depiction?
will just make a point, just going back to what Paul is
affair.
saying and whether they should be there. I think we should remember that they were at the Platinum Jubilee celebrations and they were there in a very un-Sussexy way in that they didn't upstage the royals. I mean, they really played by the rule book. They were there, but they were not there at everything.
Long before all of this came out.
It was, although Oprah had happened.
I mean, I do think on this evil stepmother thing, just to put that in context, he was only saying, you know, we wondered if she would become this caricature. He's not saying she was.
I'd like to know what he
Yeah,
says
but
about her and the relationship
Didn't
now.
he say things like, you know, that she was briefing against you know, them and briefing to the press herself and wanted the crown? And I mean, he has just taken you know, one of those fire blazer guns and gone after everybody.
I mean, I have to say, amid all of this, spare a thought for poor Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition. But today was his big moment, wasn't it? He was going to do his big State of the Nation speech, his reset, following on from Rishi Sunak's speech yesterday. Can anyone remember anything that Keir said today?
I don't think he actually said anything
guys.
anyway, though, did he? Let's be
Were
fair.
any
It's
of
just a
you
load of
listening?
vacuous,
He's taking
you know.
back control.
Is he?
He
yeah,
is.
I've heard
He's
that
taking
before,
back
and so
control.
far it hasn't worked out too well, has it?
I mean, honestly,
I wonder if the King's saying the same thing too.
Right.
I hope he does.
But I
That's
mean-
one person who does need to take back control.
But isn't that really the point? I mean, Starmer's never really said anything of any sort of note or interest. He's never taken a real position. So maybe this has helped him, bless him.
I wonder, because it's The Guardian, isn't it, that leaked this in the first place, the Harry revelations. Perhaps Keir Starmer wasn't being left-wing enough for them, so they were just like...
I mean, what's a bit weird is The Guardian, and it was sensational that they got hold of this before everyone else, but why didn't they actually run it in the paper? Does anybody have any inside info on that one? I mean, a weird decision. You've got a massive global scoop and you just put it online. Bit strange.
And for it to be leaked, however it was, to a British paper. I mean, we know how much Meghan and Harry hate the British press. So it was, whether it was a calculated leak or not, I suppose that will emerge over
Bless
time.
him, it's The Guardian. Maybe they just didn't know how to handle it. You know, it's The Guardian, after all.
That is also true. One way or another, I guess it works out for them. If their aim is maximum firestorm, I think it kind
Goal
of works,
achieved.
doesn't it? Goal
Mission
It's just-
accomplished.
What a day. But I mean, this is just the beginning, when we actually see the book.
There's Meghan's book as well, isn't there?
Oh, please, no.
And what's the time frame for Meghan's book?
We don't know yet. I mean, she's been threatening to do an autobiography for a while now, so
Right. Yeah.
probably testing the water with Harry's and seeing where they go next.
Oh,
Goodness me.
And
I
don't
think-
forget, this is a 2-book deal for Harry as well, so
Oh,
there will be
right.
more.
Hang on, so that's 3 in total, and then she might have a 2-book deal.
Do you think they've you know, killed themselves off now? Do you think they've completely trashed their own brand, or do you think there are
No,
people
no,
out
I'm
there
afraid
who
it's
Unreal.
No,
There's
absolutely
still
not.
Plenty
Absolutely not.
of appetite for it, I think. Well, listen, thank you very much,
Thank you
Paula,
very much.
Thank
Alex,
you.